Welcome back, Spas. I'm so excited to get to review some of this information with you guys because I know you're going to kick butt on that benchmark. Remember that this week we are doing River Valley civilizations, and these are the main four. Monday, our focus is Mesopotamia. We kicked butt with these units. So let's go back here and try and jot down. Do you remember any details about the geography? Remember, geography is the land, rivers, mountains, stuff like that. The Mesopotamia, go ahead and take a look at this map if you need some. Unpause when you're done. Yeah, so what you should definitely have down here is the Tigris and Euphrates River. This is a really, really important thing because this had so much to do with how Mesopotamia developed. When you think geography of Mesopotamia, think of these two rivers. Go ahead and jot down on the side, what were the two nicknames of Mesopotamia? Jot them down right over here. Unpause when you're done. Yeah, it was the land between two rivers, and then the Crescent civilization. Just fun little facts on Mesopotamia to remember. Okay, so I know that where something is located and its geography has a big impact on how it develops. For example, the geography of New Orleans affected its people because if there was a hurricane there, that affects the people, right? If you're by the shore or in mountains, that type of stuff has an impact or an effect on a place. So this is the biggest part of ancient Mesopotamia. We know that impacted its development because it had very fertile soil. If something was along water, it's going to have fertile soil. So then you can imagine that fertile soil leads to strong crops. Remember, Mesopotamia was the first ever civilization. So people were just hunters and gatherers moving around, but because they then found such a good place to settle, they did it along the Tigris and Euphrates and were able to have crops. Also make sure that you got down many natural resources. Remember, early river valley civilizations were so dependent on natural resources. This was the first ever civilization, so they couldn't trade yet, didn't have much technology, anything like that. So just having natural resources around you was very, very important to all river valley civilizations. Something I want you to make note of is that for every other river valley civilization, having a river there means that you're going to do a lot of trading, right? It makes moving from one place to the next easy because back then they didn't have cars or planes, so it was just boats in the water. But Mesopotamia, their rivers weren't used for that because it was the first ever civilization. So even though they had these great rivers, they really didn't get to use them much for trade. So when we're thinking about Mesopotamia, there's some other important things for us to know. Cuneiform, which is Mesopotamian writing. Take a look over here. Remember, it's a lot of like triangle shapes. That's Mesopotamian writing. And then also, a scribe is someone that we call a writer. Remember, a scribe is someone who writes stuff down. Something I forgot to tell you guys about too, write this down. Not everyone in Mesopotamia went to school or was taught how to write. So if you were someone who was a scribe, it meant you were very well respected and probably very wealthy. Anybody remember what it was called, what they used to write stuff down with? That was a stylus. I just put stylus and clay tablets used for writing. And then if you can think of any other important stuff about Mesopotamia, go ahead and jot it down right now. See if what you have is important with some of the facts that I'm going to give you right here in a second. And sorry guys, one other thing that I forgot to put on here too is that when it comes to the writing, just go ahead and jot down the record keeping was important. So again, back then before they had computers or anything like that, in order to kind of build a civilization, they needed people who were scribes to keep records of everything that they did, such as following the laws of, anybody else jot down here, Code of Hammurabi, set of laws in Mesopotamia. That's a really important fact you're going to need to know. Hammurabi was a great ruler. Actually, follow along as I read this right here. The Code of Hammurabi is a well-preserved law code of ancient Mesopotamia, dating back to 1754 BC. It's one of the oldest deciphered writings of significant length in the world. So you have these things all tied together. The Code of Hammurabi was a way of keeping laws recorded, and it was done with stylus and clay tablets by people who were scribes or writers that were very well respected, and it was written in cuneiform. When you are done, get ready for your exit ticket.